everyone. This is the No Pill Man, formerly known as the ASMR Metal Man. And Larsa apparently decided she wants to join us. So, she's just going to be chilling with us here. Getting some love. And today I am somewhat excited because I'm going to review, in the spirit of Metal Mayhem, going back to my channel's roots, which is what many people are subscribed to me for. I'm going to be reviewing what I consider to be one of the very best, not only black metal albums of all time, but metal albums of all time, period. And that album is called Storm of the Light's Bane by Dissection. So, a little background about Dissection and its influences. So, from what I've gathered from research, John actually wasn't the hugest fan of black metal, but he did enjoy listening to Mayhem, and he also was a big Iron Maiden fan. I say was because he ended up taking his own life in 2005 or 2006, I believe, after the release of his third album, Reign in Chaos. And this is widely considered by most to be Dissection's seminal work. So, the influences of both Iron Maiden and of Mayhem are very clear. You have this by black metal standards, the production is actually clean, but by like normal music standards, so to speak, the production is raw. So you have this raw, cold feeling dissonance, but at the same time you have these beautiful harmonies and melodies and counterpoint combined with it. Black metal doesn't, even melodic black metal, which is what this album is, a lot of people would argue that Dissection doesn't actually technically fall under melodic black metal, that it more falls under melodic death metal, because that it's a part of the same scene as like In Flames, for example. But the music that Dissection presents here is too discordant at times and too dissonant to be death metal. Melodic death metal has a very clean, nicely furbished sound to it, whereas when I listen to Dissection, I feel like I'm in the middle of Scandinavian mountains, Norway, Sweden, whatever, freezing my nuts off. And basically, the way you have this kind of duel between these beautiful melodies and this discordant dissonance. And when I say dissonance, I'm not talking about the use of chromaticism that you'll find in death metal, where they use a lot of half steps, like dun 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 dun. That's not what I'm talking about. When I say dissonant, I mean it gives a very dirty and uneasy feeling to the music. But the melodies interact with the dissonance in this album to create a kind of tension release. So you'll have the discordant dissonance that comes in, and then all of a sudden the melody comes in to resolve everything, basically. And you will see this sort of thing used in jazz music a lot. Not to say that dissection is jazzy or anything. It's just they do use that tension release technique used in a lot of jazz music in their music as well. And we can see this. We can see a lot of this in the track known as Knight's Blood, and this is widely considered to be the most popular. There's come here. And this is widely considered to be like the best track off the album by mainstream standards, although I'm sure some like hipster black metal fan will shit all over you and call you a poser for it being your favorite dissection song, because we know that black metal fans can be particularly unpleasant at times. I say this as a black metal fan. But you have these really like ugly, chaotic riffs, but then it's resolved by this very beautiful melodic midsection. Okay? And when it comes, so the track, it's like this whirlwind, this snowstorm that's just hitting you in the face. And then when the melody comes in, it's like the snowstorm is over. You get some reprieve. There's sunshine. Maybe the sun is warming your back when you're traveling through the snow. But then once the melodic midsection ends, it goes back into this very intense, very dissonant, chaotic riffage. And that's the thing when it comes to the melodic black metal scene and other melodic black metal bands. That's what I find. That's where dissection stands head and shoulders above the rest. Their ability to both combine, dissonance and orthodox, pretty melodies into, and make it, while at the same time making it musically coherent. I find a lot of melodic black metal is not ugly enough, and that's where it really kind of blurs the line between melodic black metal and melodic death metal. The intro of this album, I'm kind of working backwards here, called At the Fathomless Depths, is a repetitive melody where it goes all like and then you have some harmony where it plays, I'm pretty sure more or less the same melody, but up an octave or two, and then it kind of explodes into Knight's Blood. And then I've already talked about Knight's Blood. When it goes into Unhallowed, it right off the bat just starts punching you in the face with this really really chaotic, blizzardy, tremolo picking riff. And you see again the tension release thing after this whirlwinds of riffs. There's this kind of melodic break where it goes da 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 tension release. Okay? And it's just this was actually the first track on the entire album that really like clicked for me. When I heard that melody the first time, the hair on the back of my neck stood up and I just had chills everywhere. And then you have Where Dead Angels Lie, where the tremolo picking is used much more sparingly, and it's used in this 6/8 kind of waltzy time. It just kind of makes you want to like rock back and forth. Bum bum bum, tension release. And I would consider Where Dead Angels Lie to be by far the catchiest song on the entire album. And the way the chorus kicks in with that folky melodic line is just absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. And once again, puts chills up my spine. You're going to hear me saying that a lot, chills. The track after that, Retribution, Star of the Light's Bane, I find it to be, in my opinion, it's one of the weakest tracks on the entire album. It doesn't really go anywhere for me. It just doesn't do anything for me. Still a great song, but it doesn't live up to the standards of the rest of the album. But then after this, you have Thorns of Crimson Death, which it takes kind of a different approach than the rest of the tracks, which it's kind of, where it sets apart from the other tracks is it starts off with this beautiful harmonic minor / Phrygian dominant rundown, but then near the middle it breaks into this blizzardy tremolo picked riffs, so you have release and then tension rather than tension and release. But then it creeps back into the melody of the song, and then you have the incorporation of the acoustic guitar, and it really is a journey. It is, in my opinion, the best song on this entire album. And then we'll talk about Soul Reaper. What I think saves this song from being boring is the catchy chorus. The soul is black, black as night, Soul Reaper. I find myself singing along with what the lyrics are, or rather, what I think the lyrics are on the song. I consider it to be the second weakest track on the entire album. Still a good song, like I said, but doesn't necessarily live up to the hype. It doesn't really live up to the absolute perfection that you find in the rest of the album. And then it ends on this absolutely gorgeous and beautiful song called, it's a piano piece actually. It's called No Dreams Breed in Breathless Sleep. And it was composed by, I believe, John, the singer / guitar player of the band. It was composed by his girlfriend. Okay. One of the first songs I learned on classical guitar was this. But instead of obviously the piano, I was doing it on classical guitar. It just really caps off the theme of the album in this extremely beautiful, I don't know how else to describe it. It's just a very beautiful piece, and it really suits the album. And where I found that the acoustic pieces in the Somberlin, as beautiful as they were, and I also learned those a while ago on classical guitar, I felt like they didn't, with the exception of Feathers Fell as the closing track, they didn't really fit them. It didn't really fit. There was a pacing issue. You were being punched in the face by tremolo picked riffs, and then all of a sudden these classical acoustic guitar pieces would come on, and it just kind of took you out of the vibe. They did not repeat this mistake here. This is a perfectly fitting end to an absolutely outstanding album. Overall, I would say I would give this album a 9.2 out of 10. Phenomenal album. It's not perfect. It's not quite perfect, but it's pretty damn close. I am a huge fan as a fan of classical music, as someone who enjoys the use of dissonance with beautiful melodies, this album is right up my fucking alley. And a lot of purists who watch this will get super triggered because it's mainstream or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Listen, say what you want. No one can deny the absolutely huge influential impact that dissection has on black on black metal as a whole. And no one can deny, see, very few bands, people talk about like how there's a bunch of dissection clones in the melodic black metal scene, but I don't think they could capture the nuances and musical brilliance that John really had. John's musical prowess is a testament to Sweden's musical education system, because Dissection's a Swedish metal band. Basically, as children, they're all educated in music. And I believe that there's a strong emphasis on educating children about classical music. And I understand it's a bit of a meme used by purist metalheads. Oh, metal music is just classical music with electricity, which isn't true. But it's pretty difficult to deny the fact that the big influence that classical music had on metal when you listen to shit like this. When I say shit, I don't mean shit isn't bad, just shit isn't like a thing. And yeah, I will keep listening to this album. I will keep coming back to it. And that's my review. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope everyone has a good day.